Overnight shooting, one woman in the hospital this morning after being shot in the stomach, and investigators say it all started from a misunderstanding. The latest straight ahead.
Brian Berger back on the New Hanover County Board of Commissioners. The decision made by a judge after his colleagues voted to remove him. Coming up, we'll hear a reaction from fellow commissioners.
After the oppressive heat and humidity we saw earlier this weekend is shaping up to be as nice as it can be for this time of year. We'll break down the details plus show you the tropics as Carolina in the Morning 6 o'clock hour gets started right now.
In high definition, where news comes first, this is WECT's Carolina in the Morning.
6 a.m. on this Friday morning. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bob Townsend.
I'm Kim Ratcliffe. We're continuing to follow some breaking news this morning. A shooting in Pender County. It happened in Hampstead off Highway 17 late last night. According to Pender County Sheriff Captain Jamie Izell, one woman had to go to the hospital. Otisha Brown was shot in the stomach. Detectives say the victim and homeowner knew each other and that the woman who lives in the home mistook the victim for a burglar. Officials say Brown's injuries do not appear to be life-threatening. At this time, no charges have been filed. We will keep you updated with any new developments on this story, both on air and online.
All right, the weekend has arrived. Looks like the weather is going to be perfect. You are awfully excited about this forecast.
Yeah, temperatures are going to be warm. We're going to see humidity levels lower. It's going to be, a really nice looking weekend. Perfect conditions out there as we get started today. Right now, it's only 69 degrees, actually. Just moved down as of the 6 o'clock hour here in Wilmington. 67 degrees in Whiteville, 66 in Elizabethtown. Numbers looking great. Almost as good as Peyton Manning's 7 touchdowns last night on the NFL on NBC. 462 yards passing and no turnovers. Age before beauty, I guess. As you take a look at the current conditions, we'll move up from the 69-degree mark all the way up to about 84, but that's below normal for this time of year, so you can expect to see some cooler and drier conditions today. Spot shower possible this afternoon. Tomorrow's forecast even better than this. I'm going to share it with you coming up in just a couple of minutes. Kim?
Thanks, Colin. New Hanover County Commissioner Brian Berger is back on the board this morning.
That's right. A state Superior Court judge reinstated Berger yesterday to the board. This comes after Berger's peers voted to remove him from the board in May using a process called a motion. At that time, they cited Berger's recent legal and personal troubles as part of the reason for their decision. Berger appealed the decision in a Greensboro court this morning. We're hearing from Commissioner Jonathan Barfield, who voted against the motion process. He says working with Berger will be no different than it was before his removal.
Well, for me, it will be business as usual. Berger will be back on our board. If you look at his voting record, his voting was very consistent with, the policies that were best for New Hanover County. I never saw any erratic issues when it came to his voting.
We'll be working on this story more today, and for a complete look at the story right now, including the 30-page order issued by that judge, you can find it by going to our website, WECT.com. Any new updates will be posted right there as well.
Well, Governor Pat McCrory is coming to our area today. There are a couple of things on the governor's agenda. The first this morning, Governor McCrory makes a public safety announcement that takes place at Hoggard High School in Wilmington around 10 o'clock. This afternoon, the governor heads to Brunswick County to make an announcement in Southport that pertains to the economy. We'll be sure to let you know what comes from both of those announcements.
And I'm Bob Bonner back in the Live Alert Center now. The latest out of the final day of the G20 summit in St. Petersburg, Russia. Now, before leaving for Washington tonight, President Obama holding a news conference, then meeting with Russian civil society leaders. Among those invited to meet with the president are Russian gay rights leaders. Obama has been critical of a new Russian law banning homosexual propaganda. Now, Russian lawmakers say the measure doesn't outlaw homosexuality, but merely discourages discussion of it among people younger than 18. The law has prompted scattered calls for a boycott of the 2014 Winter Olympic Games, which are being held in the Russian city of Sochi. Bob?
This morning in South Carolina, a baby in serious condition after being shot by her 3-year-old brother, and police are blaming her mother. It happened in Charleston, South Carolina. Investigators there say they found an infant in a car seat in a living room. Officials say her mother, Kayla Pryor, admits that she was standing outside talking to friends when she heard what she knew was a gunshot that went off inside. That's when she went back inside and saw her 3-year-old son standing next to the gun, crying. This incident has neighbors very concerned.
2 lives are just gone. It's terrible. They're children, and we're supposed to protect them.
Investigators say that Kayla's mother is charged with unlawful conduct towards a child and also faces 2 drug charges. The baby remains in serious condition at a hospital in Charleston. Looking ahead today, former NFL player Aaron Hernandez will be arraigned in a Massachusetts Superior Courtroom today. Hernandez was indicted last month for the murder of semi-professional football player Odin Lloyd. Prosecutors say that Hernandez orchestrated Lloyd's murder because he was upset that Lloyd was talking to people Hernandez had a problem with. Hernandez could face life in prison if convicted.
A bombshell this morning in the case of a missing teen from Rowan County. The attorney for Erica's adoptive family says Nan may not be Erica's biological grandmother, as her adoptive mother, Casey, originally thought. Casey claims she and her husband took Erica to live with Nan after meeting her on 2 visits, and they felt comfortable with her. Erica Parsons has not been seen since November of 2011, but was just reported missing in July of this year.
6:05, 70 degrees here in the Port City as you head out the door this morning. I am expecting to see lots of clear skies. We'll see some clouds develop just like we did yesterday right along the coast during the late morning hours into the early afternoon. Yes, it could provide a slight chance for some showers. I think less coverage than what we saw yesterday as a couple of thunderstorms fired up yesterday late afternoon. Conditions remain very clear. High pressure trying to work its way into the region. I've already posted this online and on our Facebook page, so you can always find out what the weather is going to be like in specific times of day. We'll fast forward from 6 o'clock to noon today. 78 degrees, winds out of the north. Watch the shower activity, though, from the Pamlico Sound trying to sneak its way into southeastern North Carolina. Could that happen? Yeah, it's possible that we could see a light shower 4 to, let's say, 7 o'clock tonight. Maybe even a rumble of thunder or 2 in association with these drier and cooler air in the mid levels of the atmosphere allow thunderstorms to develop. So you just get a little bit of lift and you can have some storms. But again, this will be short-lived. And then the real headline here is what happens in the wake of that little cool front. Northeasterly winds, we'll see that reinforcing shot of cool air help to drive temperatures back down into the low 60s for Saturday morning. I mean, it really just does not get much better than that here for eastern NC. We'll get the daytime high temperatures up into the low 80s for the middle of the day. Sunday's looking good as well, as we'll start the day off in the mid 60s and get our way back into the mid to upper 80s. Friday night forecast, we usually just show football, but tonight over UNCW, the UNCW Seahawk Invite College cross country race is happening at 6 o'clock the men, 6:30 the women. Dry and mild conditions, 77 for the gun. ECU here, Campbell, St. Andrews, and other colleges. Saturday then is the high school race at the same spot in the intramural fields on the campus of UNCW. Other side of the viewing area, Bladenboro, where Whiteville, Wolfpack taking on West Bladen, 76 degrees for the Friday night football kickoff forecast. It'll be cooling quickly after dark, so take an extra layer with you as you head to the stadium. Taking a look at the roads this morning, Caroline Walter with traffic.
Thanks, Colin. Well, happy Friday, everyone. And right now, all is clear for you. There are no wrecks to report. There's nothing standing in your way to start your weekend. So let's go ahead and take a live look here at our traffic cam. We're looking at MLK near the Isabel Holmes Bridge for you here. You can see the PPD building. So if you're heading towards downtown or the Isabel Holmes Bridge towards Leland, looks like you should have a nice and smooth commute there. Hardly any cars on the roads right now. But we do want to warn you that starting on Monday, DOT crews will close one lane on NC 179 near Piggott Road in Brunswick County. This closure will last until Friday, September 20th. Crews are working on bridge work there, so plan for delays in the area if you're about to travel that way next week. And that's a look at your First Alert traffic.
First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Andrews Mortuary and Crematory. From simple cremation to traditional burial services, the Andrews family has proudly served the Wilmington community since 1850. Now, with the WECT mobile app, you'll never be without WECT News. From WECT.com to text and email alerts for breaking news and weather. WECT News. It's all right here in the palm of your hand.
Sponsored by your Honda dealer of the Carolinas. See what all the buzz is about during the Honda Summer Clearance event going on now.
You are watching WECT's Carolina in the Morning.
We are back 12 minutes after the hour. Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano saying goodbye today after 4 years on the job. The former Arizona governor is leaving the position and the Obama administration today and heading out west to head up the University of California education system. Some critics have expressed concern, though, over her appointment there because of her lack of experience in academia. She's expected to start her new job at the end of this month.
Walmart workers and supporters are asking for better jobs and higher wages. Protests were planned in at least 15 cities on Thursday. In New York, 3 people were taken into custody as protesters plan to deliver a petition to company board member Chris Williams. The 3 were charged with disorderly conduct for blocking the entrance to the building and trespassing. The National Jobs Report for August will be released today. The Labor Department says applications for unemployment benefits dropped to near a 5-year low last week. Some economists expect the report to show that employers have added 177,000 jobs, up from 162,000 in July. They believe the unemployment rate will remain at 7.4%. Well, whether you want it or not, health insurance is in your financial future, or you will have to pay a penalty.
And right now, not very clear what the long-term effects the Affordable Care Act will be having on your wallet. But Carolina the Morning's Lindsay Curtin joining us this morning to tell us more about what you need to know, where you can go get for help. A lot of information, including an open house this weekend. Lindsay.
That's right, Bob. And like you guys said before, the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is the health care law requiring people to buy insurance or face a financial penalty. And there's a lot to get straight before enrollment for subsidized insurance begins on October 1st. Now, just a couple reminders on a few things. Here's what's new. The Affordable Care Act eliminates the use of gender or health status in setting premiums. It prohibits insurers from charging women higher rates than men. They can't charge older people more than 3 times more than younger people, and can't reject customers with pre-existing conditions. Now, here are the deadlines to take note. October 1st is the date to begin enrolling. Nationally, those who don't have health care coverage on the job can go on to online insurance markets, also called exchanges, in their states to shop for a private plan and find out if they qualify for a tax credit. Now, the other date to know, come January 1st, all Americans will be required to have coverage or face fines. At the same time, insurance companies will no longer be able to turn away people in poor health. Now, if you need help navigating all of this, here's where you can go. Legal Aid of North Carolina's Wilmington office, that's at 201 North Front Street, or you can go to Med North Health Center, formerly New Hanover County Community Center, Health Center rather. That's at 925 North 4th Street. Also this weekend, like Bob mentioned earlier, Enroll America, a nonprofit created to promote subsidized coverage, is holding an open house this Saturday at 11:30 in the morning. That's going to be at the main library downtown. That's at 201 Chestnut Street on the 3rd floor. Also, we have all this for you about the subsidized insurance and help on our website, WECT.com. Just scroll your mouse over the Health First tab on the top right-hand side of the page, and then click on the subcategory Obamacare. Back to you.
All right, Lindsay, we're back in the Live Alert Center now. An update on a U.S. drone strike in Pakistan, as its second strike now has been reported. A senior leader of the Haqqani network has reportedly been killed in that attack. Early this morning, drones fired 2 missiles in a compound in the village in the northern part of that country. 7 people now have been killed in the 2 strikes. The area where the first attack took place, known as a stronghold for the Haqqani network, which regularly attacks U.S. forces in Afghanistan from its mountain hideouts. There have been a total now of 20 strikes in Pakistan this year. That is significantly less than the last 2 years.
All right, let's take a look at the forecast here. 6:16 in the morning. We'll do the beach and boat forecast. We'll start off with the water temperatures over at Wrightsville Beach. If you get the great fortune of getting over to the beach today, tomorrow, this weekend, you're going to love it. 83 degrees at Wrightsville Beach, 82 at the Ocean Crest Pier. Warm water conditions, warm air conditions. We are continuing to see high ultraviolet light as well. So just be sure to wear the sunscreen on a day like this where you can easily burn. We're also monitoring low rip current risks, although tomorrow I do anticipate to see some moderate rip current risks. So just keep that in mind as you head over to the beaches, especially the beaches here along the east. Curie Beach, Carolina Beach, Wrightsville Beach, Topsail, and Surf City. Daytime high temperatures today are expected to roll into the mid-80s. Not a horrible looking forecast. In fact, pretty good for the next few days. 85, 83, and 86 as we go through Sunday. Heat and humidity return somewhat as we go through the early portion of the week. We'll see those highs back up into the upper 80s, lows into the mid-60s as we take a look at the weekend forecast. Things looking pretty good there as well. Carolina Beach's Farmers Market, 8 a.m. on Saturday, should see a temperature at about 70 degrees or so for the early morning hours, and then we'll crawl our way up to about 83 in the afternoon. A little warmer for your Sunday. Boogie in the Park there, Curie Beach, free concert at the Oceanfront Park. That starts at 4 p.m. Temperatures at that time of day should be somewhere right around 80 degrees. Bob and Kim.
All right, Colin, thanks. By the way, the final farmers market of the season there at Carolina Beach this weekend. Business news to tell you about right now. J.P. Morgan Company will soon stop loaning money to students. Starting on October the 12th, the company will no longer accept applications for private student loans. However, the applications received before that date, October 12th, will continue to be processed. Last year, the company decided to make education loans available only to existing Chase Bank customers. So who's number one in credit cards these days when it comes to satisfaction? American Express ranks the highest for the 7th year in a row. The study was based on responses from 14,000 consumers. American Express scored well in rewards, benefits and services, and billing and payment. Discover Card followed in second place, performing well in credit card terms, interaction, and also problem resolution.
A new study finds that some employers have a negative view of the millennial generation, also known as Gen Y. Nearly half of employers say those in their 20s have a poor work ethic. Also, 46% of bosses said 20-somethings are easily distracted, and more than 50% say they have inflated payment demands.
Well, a new play coming to Thalian Hall, and it's being compared to shows in the Big Apple, even those in London. Stay with us this morning. We'll hear from the actors taking part in the productions. That's in a few minutes from now.
Also coming up, you're going to meet our pet of the week, this little guy looking for his forever home, and he has a lot to say about it. We'll see if we can get him to talk when we come back. Taking a look right now. Your school lunch menus. Here they are today, this Friday, September the 6th. You can also find a link to these on our website. Just go to WECT.com, then the Carolina in the Morning page.
You are watching WECT's Carolina in the Morning.
Welcome back. Pet of the Week time. Jody with the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office Animal Services Unit joining us this morning with Charlie.
He is known as Surrender.
Oh.
His sister is also at the shelter.
Okay.
He is very sweet.
Okay. He's a really
Very
active
rambunctious.
little guy.
He is.
I
He's
gotcha.
young. He's rambunctious.
Hi.
He's going to need somebody that's going to be active with him. He's as big as he's going to get.
He's an unusual little size. He's got,
When they brought him in, they said he was a Basset Dachshund mix.
Oh, I can see that.
So,
yeah.
he's
He's
got a little
got a
bit,
little
yeah,
squatty.
but he is very active.
Oh.
So you have to
be ready for
be
that.
ready for that.
He's just fun. He just wants
he
to have a
is.
lot of fun. And what you would expect from a younger dog.
Right. Plus, he was talking to you guys earlier.
Okay. Do you want to hear him talk?
I don't know. I don't know. He was talking to Colin earlier.
You gonna talk, Charlie? Come on, Charlie.
He's being shy now.
And we told him not to.
We also do have our next free rabies clinic coming up
okay. When
on
is
the
that?
21st.
Good boy.
And it's from 9 to 11.
21st,
9
free
to
rabies
11.
clinic, 9 to 11. That's important.
So
for
if
folks
you
to
need a
know.
rabies shot, bring your
If you
dog,
need a
cat, or
if your
ferret.
dog needs a rabies shot.
If you need one for your pets.
All right, sorry, having a little too much fun with Charlie here. Hey. Okay, if you would like to adopt Charlie, please call the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office Animal Services Unit. That's where he lives with his sister Charlotte. Keep in mind that as well. 798-7500. Thanks, Jody, for bringing him in. Now,
No
we also
problem.
have a link set up for you to the Sheriff's Office Animal Services Unit, as well as some of the other adoption locations in our area. Just go to WECT.com, then the Carolina in the Morning page, and right there, click on the Pet of the Week icon.
Kim, are you taking Colin to get his rabies shot, or I'm taking him? Which one? Let's go
funny.
get this
I'd be
settled right
happy
now.
to take him as long as I can give it to him.
Oh my gosh. We spent so much time telling that dog not to bark while we were doing the news, and then we come back on. The poor dog has a complex now.
Dog likes his tummy rub there. All right.
Yeah, he definitely loves that.
It's time for the trending session, and these are the ones that will bring a tear to your eye, right?
Okay, indeed. Speaking of homecomings, this is a soldier in the U.S. Army on leave from base. He comes to see his 6-year-old son. surprises him in the backyard as Spider-Man, but the kid doesn't know it's him yet. Take a watch.
Yeah, Spider-Man. Uh-oh.
Solid gold.
Love to see those.
Yeah.
Love to see them.
Pretty cool.
That surprise you?
Big surprise. You'll throw that up on the Facebook
You never
page.
get tired of seeing that, do you?
Nah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. He said, did you see Spider-Man came over the fence? So that's always fun. As we take a look at the forecast for today, Bob, very impressive looking forecast here for the next couple of days. Already we're seeing drier conditions. We're in the 60s for most locations across southeastern NC. Expect to see those daytime high temperatures moving up into the low 80s, I think, for the middle of the day today. The hour-by-hour forecast model has been trending low, but I think today it's pretty close to what we'll see as actual daytime highs as we roll into the low 80s there. Winds out of the east. Spot shower not out of the question later this afternoon. We'll keep the rain chances at about 20%, but I think you can probably leave the umbrella behind and expect to see some good conditions here this afternoon. Tonight's going to be very nice, pleasant conditions as the temperatures move down to the 50s inland, 60s here near the coast. High temperatures tomorrow back up into the mid-80s. Once again, a gorgeous looking Saturday afternoon forecast. I love it as we continue to see that drier air. The drier air really makes the big difference. Temperature difference between 87 or so like we saw yesterday and 85 isn't that big a deal, but you pull the humidity down and it really helps out for outdoor activities, helps your skin the sweat off your skin to evaporate, and that really helps to keep you cooler. 87 degrees there for Monday though. As we come out of the weekend, we'll see some warmer conditions. Rain chances will also be moving up as we head through the early portion of the work week. Looks like a long range forecast in the tropics remains relatively quiet, not too much to worry about out there, although we will continue to update you with any developments in the Atlantic Basin, both here and online, WECT.com. Fishing game forecast for today. Fishing's getting better. 3:30 this afternoon, the best fishing.
Cutting corn. Going to be a big day to go dove hunting tomorrow also. All right, taking a look right now at today's first act, a look at the trouble people can get into online. A new original play called Chat Room premiering tonight at the Brown Coat Pub and Theater in Wilmington. It centers around the demon of lust who's been in a coma for 40 years. A former minion happens upon him and wakes him up. Now the demon has to deal with a new world out there involving social media, the internet, and some tricky love problems. The actors involved say the show gives even the best cities a run for their money.
It's an opportunity for the folks who come to see this to see something that's never been seen before either, and hasn't been seen in New York, hasn't been seen in London, you know, and it'll give a lot of those shows a run for their money.
Sounds like it's going to be a good one. Chat Room opening tonight at the Brown Coat Pub and Theater on Gray Street and will run for 2 weekends. Almost 6:30 right now, and we'll be back with more on Carolina the Morning on this Friday in a moment. Right now, things looking very nice on the outside. No rain out there today.
In high definition, where news comes first, this is WECT's Carolina in the Morning.
It is 6:30. Good morning, everyone. I'm Bob Townsend.
I'm Kim Ratcliffe. Happy to have you with us this morning and getting right to the weekend forecast because we know that's really what you kind of want to know on a Friday morning. Colin,
Friday morning, yeah, it does look good. You know, it could be raining and craziness outside. Still, it's Friday.
It's Friday.
It won't dampen your spirits.
It won't. No, I have, not only is it Friday, we have fantastic weather in store for you today and tomorrow. Drier conditions are starting to move in. We already are starting to see the dew points drop around the region. Take a live look outside at Wrightsville Beach right now. Fairly calm conditions there as we look off toward the sunrise. You can see the camera rocking just a skosh as we'll continue to see some light easterly breezes this morning. But by this afternoon, we're going to see the winds pick up from the north and from the east at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Take a look at these temperatures outside right now. Everybody below 70 degrees, even North Myrtle Beach, Oak Island, 69, Wilmington as well, 66 degrees in Kenansville, Elizabethtown, Whiteville, and in Lumberton. We're expecting to see those temperatures move from where we are now at the 69 degree mark all the way up to about 84 or 85, so cooler than normal conditions are expected today. I got even cooler conditions on the forecast for tomorrow. We'll talk about that and how this all changes by the middle of next week coming up in just a few minutes.
Colin, thanks. One woman is in the hospital today after a shooting in the Pender County area last night in Hampstead, and we were first to report this as breaking news on our website, WECT.com. That happened in the Hampstead area of Highway 17. Pender County investigators saying that Atisha Brown had been shot in the stomach. Sheriff's Department detectives saying the victim and the homeowner knew each other and that the woman who lives in the residence mistook the victim for a burglar. Officials say that Brown's injuries do not appear to be life-threatening and no charges have been filed at this time.
Remembering our heroes, that's the mission behind a firefighter fundraiser set to take place tomorrow. A memorial is being built at the MP Park Fire Station. So far, a concrete foundation has been poured at the spot where the memorial will stand. It will be unveiled to the public next Wednesday on the anniversary of 9/11. Now, to help pay for the project, the Wilmington Fire Department will hold a volleyball tournament fundraiser, and that's tomorrow at Captain Bill's Backyard Grill, which is on Market Street. Speaking of firefighters, it's a job that requires a sharp skill set and constant training. That's the reason Oak Island's fire department completely burned this house to the ground on Thursday. It's the first time some have battled a fire, and some even had to come out of the home early because of hot conditions inside. Oak Island Fire Chief says hands-on training is as close to the real thing as it gets. Several other places have been set up for what they call live burn opportunities, including one later on this year. North Carolinians got a first glance at the potential cost of getting health insurance under the Federal Affordable Health Care Act.
That's right. Yesterday, Blue Cross Blue Shield putting out their numbers, and they're the only insurer in the state that's applied to serve all 100 counties in North Carolina under the Act's Health Insurance Exchange. But those numbers are not exactly low. It's very confusing. WECT's Lindsay Curtin in the studio to break it all down for us, though, right now. Lindsay.
Good morning, Bob and Kim. Yeah, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina posted those proposed premiums on their website, showing rates that range from a low of $145 to a high of $947 per month, depending on the age of the customer and the level of coverage they wanted. But the North Carolina Justice Center says the numbers you see aren't exact. Premiums don't take into account tax credits that could significantly reduce a customer's rate. There will be 4 levels of plans that will be available under the Affordable Care Act: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Bronze plans will cover 60% of expected medical costs, silver will cover 70%, gold 80%, and of course platinum 90%. All the plans cover the same benefits, but bronze features the lowest premiums paired with higher deductibles and copays, and as you might imagine, on the other end of the spectrum, platinum plans would have the lowest out-of-pocket costs and the highest premiums. Now, another important detail here, people with lower incomes may actually be better served by sticking with a silver plan instead of going for the lower premiums with a bronze, as additional help with out-of-pocket costs like copays will only be available to people enrolling in a silver plan. Now, as far as penalties go, if you don't enroll in some sort of plan by the deadlines, here's what it's looking like for your wallet. There will be a fine of $95 or 1% of your annual pay, whichever is greater. In the first year, for those who fail to get coverage by 2016, the fine will be up to $695 or 2.5% of your annual pay, whichever is greater. Now, this fine will be taken out of tax refunds, as currently there's no other way of enforcing the penalty. You can also head to our website, WECT.com. Just scroll your mouse over the Health First tab on the top right-hand side of the page, then click on the subcategory Obamacare. Live in the studio, back to you.
All right, Lindsay, we're now in the Live Alert Center. More developments on a possible U.S.-led strike against the Syrian government. The UN nuclear watchdog now receiving a request from Russia to assess the impact if a missile were to hit a small Syrian nuclear reactor. Now, that reactor contains radioactive uranium, could be struck by design or chance, according to Russian officials. Nuclear experts have said the reactor is a small one, but any radioactive fallout may pose a local health hazard. Bob?
All right, Bob, get a load of this story now. A man hit by a lightning bolt. He dies, then comes back to life, all because of the quick response of people nearby. Police in Surf City saying the man was hit by lightning. It struck him in his head, traveled through his entire body, even shocked his wife, who was holding his hand. Now, we talked to her on the phone. She says she never even saw the flash of lightning.
The last thing I remember was holding hands and laughing and just being happy, and next second I'm laying around, paralyzed and scared to death.
Well, after it happened, witnesses and first responders immediately started doing CPR on the man, and the woman saying her husband's alive because all of those folks nearby and what they did so quickly. She says now he should be able to leave a hospital in Chapel Hill very soon.
We have another story that may be hard to believe. Take a look at this new video. It's a video of a shark. A close encounter happening in Florida. Now, several sharks can be seen wading around in the shallow water. Some people on the beach took the video of the sharks who got close to a couple of swimmers. Luckily, no one was bitten.
All right, take a look at the forecast. 6:37, 70 degrees outside right now. High pressure moving into eastern North Carolina. I advertised this a little while ago, the fantastic conditions that we're expecting this weekend. Let's show it to you via the hour-by-hour forecast. Really no shower activity at all through the Palmetto State or the Old North State. Just a couple of clouds there up toward Asheville, over toward Winston-Salem. Temperatures this morning, 69 degrees currently. Northwesterly winds will continue. We'll see that shift around a little bit to the north. And then another little reinforcing shot of cooler and drier air will move directly overhead as we move into the afternoon. It could set off a shower. That's why we'll leave that 20% chance of precipitation in throughout the afternoon today. Then behind that little line comes more northeasterly winds. Watch what the temperatures do. Here's 9 o'clock tonight. So you head out to Friday night football. You go to the game. Game starts 75 degrees or so. And then look out below. By dawn tomorrow, we'll be down into the low 60s in Wilmington. And then inland locations will be in the upper 50s. So a nice looking start to the day on Saturday. If you're planning outdoor activities, things are looking pretty good. Sunday's also looking good as well, with daytime high temperatures anticipated getting up to the mid 80s for your highs. Lots of things going on. It all starts this evening. The Friday night forecast. Usually this is reserved for football. We'll throw running into the mix tonight as well, as the UNCW cross country team hosts their one home meet of the year against ECU, Campbell, and St. Andrews. First race is at 6 o'clock the guys, 6:30 the girls, 77 degrees. Perfect outdoor activity weather there. And then we'll move from one side of the viewing area all the way to the other. We'll go out to western Bladen County to the town of Bladenboro, where Whiteville, the Wolfpack, will be coming to town to take on West Bladen in high school football. 76 degrees, your kickoff temperature. Cooling after dark. Just a reminder, take that sweatshirt with you. I know it may not seem like you'll need it, but we are going to see some cooler conditions this evening as temperatures move back down into the low 60s. That's the latest from the First Alert Weather Forecast Center. Here's Caroline with traffic.
Is some work being done there. It's going to be the north and southbound lanes that crews are working on from 6 tonight until 7 tomorrow morning. DOT crews are resurfacing the concrete deck and painting the structural steel and making concrete repairs under the bridge. This is all part of the state-funded bridge plan. This closure is expected to last until fall of next year, so be sure to pack your patience. And happening today in Wilmington, crews will begin pouring concrete on the 1,000-foot section of Riverwalk adjacent to the future Port City Marina there. This is located just north of the Wilmington Convention Center. This section of the Riverwalk will open to the public later this year. Another 1,300 feet will be added north of this section next year. This project is expected to be completed in 2015, and when it is completed, the entire Riverwalk will be close to 2 miles. We'll be looking forward to that. And that's a look at your Friday First Alert traffic.
First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Andrews Mortuary and Crematory. From simple cremation to traditional burial services, the Andrews family has proudly served the Wilmington community since 1850. You are watching WECT's Carolina in the Morning.
Beautiful scene down at the beach this morning. Across the big ocean overseas, U.S. and South Korean officials talking today about North Korea's nuclear program. Those same officials met again early this morning. The nuclear program, one of several topics discussed during the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State Daniel Russell's 3-day trip to Seoul. Russell was also asked about cooperation between North Korea and Syria on chemical weapons.
Well, there certainly is a long and unsavory history of cooperation between the North Korean government and the Syrian regime. It's highly unfortunate.
Meanwhile, in Russia, President Obama continues trying to convince world leaders of the G20 summit to back military action in Syria.
In Washington today, the calendar is being set for final votes, and we get the very latest this morning from NBC's Tracy Potts.
Lawmakers are hearing it on the streets of Baltimore.
They're worried about what's next.
In Kansas City.
How can we afford another military action?
In Arizona.
You can do it by diplomacy and negotiation, not bombs, Senator McCain.
Now a new Pew Research poll reports nearly half of Americans, 48%, oppose military action in Syria. Today, Senator Harry Reid sets the calendar for final Senate votes next week. In the House, many lawmakers remain undecided, thinking about Iraq.
We don't want to make the same mistake that was made before.
But this will be a vote of conscience.
It shouldn't be left up to the United States alone.
Some say America's skeptical because the public hasn't seen evidence that Syria used chemical weapons.
Those of us who've seen it find it very convincing.
Half a world away, the G20 summit wraps up today. President Obama's at odds with Russian President Putin over Syria. President Obama's trying to convince half the G20 nations to support a military strike. Secretary of State John Kerry, he's pushing for support as well. He'll be visiting Lithuania, France, and Great Britain. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
And on the heels of that, we're back in the Live Alert Center with more news out of Syria. That's where the UN's humanitarian chief prepared to leave today after a two-day visit. Valerie Amos, the UN's Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Relief Coordinator, seen leaving the hotel in Damascus where she was staying. Now, during her visit, Amos met with Syrian officials and lobbied for access to civilians trapped in areas where fighting has raged. She also said she was concerned the humanitarian crisis in Syria was actually getting worse. UN officials estimate nearly 5 million people have been displaced inside the country, and another 2 million have fled to neighboring countries. Guys.
All right, here we are at 6:48, 70 degrees. Let's take a tour de jour of the high school football games that are happening tonight. Big full calendar across southeastern North Carolina. We'll start off Purnell Sweat at Hoddard, 77 degrees your kickoff temperature. Mostly clear skies we're going to have pretty much around the entire viewing area as we slip over to East Columbus as North Brunswick brings the Scorpions to town. Clear and nice conditions, 75 for the kickoff there over near Delco. And then as we move, or Bolton I should say, just to the north of Lake Waccamaw, Clinton versus Laney. The Dark Horses bring their winning ways into town. They're playing over there at Bucktown. Mostly clear skies, 75 degrees, what we expect for the beginning of that matchup. It looks like by the end of the games, though, those temperatures will be dropping steadily throughout the evening. So it's not a horrible idea to take a jacket with you, or at least a long sleeve shirt just in case, if you're cold nature, particularly for that fourth quarter and the walk back to the car. 20% chance of precipitation today. Can't rule out entirely the opportunity for a stray shower or thunderstorm, particularly between the hours of 4 and 6 or 7 p.m. So that could affect the kickoff weather. Tomorrow's forecast, got a long run planned or something during the morning hours. Gorgeous conditions for it. Bike ride, tea time, gardening, you name it. It'll get done as temperatures won't be an issue, nor will shower activity across eastern NC. High temperatures will slowly start to grind their way back up into the upper 80s there for the beginning of the work week. Overnight low temperatures remain in the upper 60s.
A local radio station working to raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
That's right. WQ101 and Reach Jewelers teaming up with the Country Cares for St. Jude's Kids. This is the 13th year for the event.
They raised $60,000 for the charity last year. They're hoping this year they'll pull in even more money. If you have twins or triplets, they could be on a new Fox TV show.
Sleepy Hollow filming in Wilmington. They'll be filming this weekend. Cameras rolling and production needing some infant extras. The show is looking for the little ones, ages 6 to 12 months old, for scenes that will be filmed today and again on Monday. And if your kids are looking for their chance at Hollywood fame, listen up to this.
Disney representatives will be in Wilmington in a couple of weeks. They're holding an open call.
That's right. According to the Disney Channel, also DisneyChannel.com, they're looking for children between the ages of 10 and 17. The open call will be held at the Wilmington Convention Center on the days of September 21st and 22nd.
And you can find all the details on our website, WECT.com. There is more Carolina in the Morning after the break.
First Alert Traffic is sponsored by Andrews Mortuary and Crematory. From simple cremation to traditional burial services, the Andrews family has proudly served the Wilmington community since 1850.
Welcome back, everyone, to Carolina in the Morning. Right now, we're about 7 minutes away from the top of the hour.
And helping you to get ready for your Friday and your weekend, Colin will have the forecast in just a moment. Lindsay Curtin has details on Obamacare and what you can expect with some upcoming deadlines.
That's right. First, though, let's take a look at what kind of traffic you're facing as you're going out to work or school this morning. Caroline Waltrip with First Alert Traffic. Caroline?
Thanks, Bob. Well, everything's looking good on the roads for you. You've got to head out the door to start your day. So let's go ahead and take a live look here. We're focusing in on the Cape Fear Memorial Bridge. And as you can see, traffic is moving with ease if you're trying to head in or out of town right now. I also spoke to the bridge tender, and there are no scheduled openings for today, so that'll make your Friday a little bit easier. And that's a look at your First Alert traffic.
Well, hello, I'm Lindsay Curtin, live in the studio, or live in the newsroom rather, talking about the Affordable Care Act. As of October 1st, those who are uninsured can start enrolling by going to an online insurance market, also called an exchange, to shop for a private plan and find out if they qualify for a tax credit. Now, to help make this process easier, there's an open house at the New Hanover County Library downtown this Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Also, you can read more on the recently released insurance premiums from Blue Cross Blue Shield under the Affordable Care Act on our website, wect.com.
Right now, let's take a look at some of the top stories we're following today on this Friday morning. One woman in the hospital today after a shooting last night in Hampstead. Investigators with the Pender County Sheriff's Office saying that Otisha Brown was shot in her stomach after a homeowner mistook her for a home intruder. Officials say Brown's injuries do not appear to be life-threatening. No charges have been filed at this time.
Governor Pat McCrory will make a public safety announcement today at Hoggard High School in Wilmington. That happens around 10 this morning. This afternoon, the governor heads to Brunswick County to make an announcement in Southport that pertains to the local economy. And we'll be sure to let you know what comes from both of those announcements.
And also, we're waiting to see what happens after the final day of the G20 summit in Russia that's been going on this week. President Obama will be holding a news conference tonight before leaving Russia, heading home. Then we'll meet with the Russian civil society leaders. The president made his case for military action against Syria during a lengthy dinner meeting last night, and we'll certainly keep you up to date with the very latest on that.
Taking a look outside, the digital Doppler radar and the satellite remain very quiet across eastern North Carolina. We could see some showers starting to fire up a little bit later this afternoon, but the headline for the forecast is cooler and drier weather moving in on the heels of a weak cold front, as we'll see temperatures today getting up into the mid-80s. Overnight low temperatures back into the 60s, and we'll keep it in the mid-80s for the first half of the weekend there. 83 degrees your Saturday afternoon high temperature. Gorgeous beach weather, boating weather, anything outdoors should be good to go. Sunday we'll get back up to 86 degrees. Also on Sunday, Carolina in the morning. Coming to Sunday morning starting this week.
Good for that. All right.
Thanks for watching this morning. Stay tuned for the Today Show or follow us over to Fox Wilmington for more Carolina in the Morning.